Hello, my name is Rich Howard, owner of Architectural Builder Supply. This video is to bring you a closer look at the Olympus 725RD-DR-RH-26D. This is a drawer lock, it's a piece of furniture hardware. It's a lock. It's a deadbolt, is what it is. This is a common piece of equipment made by lots of people. I am quite partial to Olympus because while I don't sell a lot of this material from Olympus, or a substantial amount from their entire product line, we do routinely, and I routinely see their material, and I'm always very satisfied with the overall quality, fit, and finish, but also the tech support. There's a gentleman over at Olympus who is thoroughly responsive to me. We seem to have areas of expertise disparate from each other, and there are times when I'm able to help him with a tech question, and he absolutely does a lot more work in this relationship than I do, but to him I say thank you very much. Very helpful when it comes to this. Okay, now what exactly is this? Let's take a look. As I said earlier, it's a piece of hardware that will lock a cabinet door, a drawer, wherever the case might be. These are available in different configurations, different handings, basically. The orientation of the bolt, probably whether or not there might be a key retaining, non-key retaining version of this. There might be a latching version of it as well, and we'll take a closer look. This is what they call an RH for right hand. So I'm going to say that they're calling these the same way that a safe door is called, assuming that cabinet's going to swing out and the hinges are on the right. I believe they're going to call that a right hand, whereas from the door industry we would call that a right hand reverse. It's not how these cabinet hardware people do it. This includes not only the lock, this is in the 26D finish, so the exposed part is satin chrome. Okay, it also includes the construction core, the plastic operating core, that you will, those two holes there will go into the two posts of the drive member there. Slide that in. You'll be able to throw your bolt. Pretty simple, pretty straightforward. Okay. Let's take some basic dimensional properties, and then we'll look at the screw package. Let's see. Well, overall height of the unit itself with the mounting flange, it's about 2 5/8. Overall width looks like it's right at about 2 1/4. The projection of the bolt looks like it's about 3/8. The height, about 11/16. Its thickness looks like it's about 5/16. Okay. It's going to include, let's take it out of the package. First of all, a strike plate. You're going to mount this so that the bolt is making contact with this small little piece of metal. Overall height, about 1 7/8. Overall width, about 11/16. It's quite thin material, probably 55 thousandths. 55 thousandths. Survey says, ooh, way off. 40 thousandths, 0.040. It's also going to include a couple of small screws for getting it attached. Okay. You're also going to get a couple of screws for attaching the lock body. Okay. You're also going to get a spacer, this piece of black plastic that's here. If you are using a 6-pin cylinder in this, you will need the spacer. Drop that in, then put your 6-pin core into the housing itself. If you're using a 5-pin, which I've never seen one, but they exist, you'll need 2 of those spacers. Best can sell you additional spacers if Olympus cannot. They might be able to. We'll look in their catalog. If you're using a 7-pin length, you will not use the spacer at all for that. And as I had said earlier, Olympus is certainly not the only company that makes these. Others do. And they may not be the name most people think of, but I really like their quality. And their catalog is really comprehensive when it comes to a well laid out catalog with several options available. It's relatively easy to review. You rarely need to call them for clarification, even though when I have, it's been exceptional. So let's switch to the screen view and let's take a closer look at the supporting information. If you are enjoying this video, please click thumbs up or like, and also please consider subscribing to our channel. Let's move on to the rest of the video. Here is the item that we are looking at. Let's take a look at some photographs that we have linked to down below here. In the packaging, everything in the packaging, showing you the construction turn with the bolt thrown. That would be looking up from the floor. Side view, so to speak. Close-up of the, what would be called a figure 8, a small format prep. That's here. Best, Frank Best, the founder of Best Lock, patented this design, cloned and copied countless times by many people over the decades. We have another construction core that's here. They call it a construction core because it allows you to operate the bolt not only during the installation period to make sure that it works correctly and that you've installed it correctly, but also to operate the door until the permanent cores come to the site. They're inexpensive. You can use those as a construction core, meaning it will just operate until the permanent cores versus having actual pinned construction cores, which we can supply those as well. So if you wanted to have something that required key access, we could supply you with those easily. The back side of the unit, showing the bolt a little bit clearer, I suppose. And then, of course, your strike, your disc, your shim. I'm drawing a blank on what the proper term for that is. And then your 4 screws needed for installation. Now, there's lots of good stuff below. Let's take a look. So this is a small format IC core, Best, Falcon, Arrow, all of the clones, 5, 6, or 7 pin will all work. It's a rim-mounted lock. The term rim-mounted means that it's a surface-mounted lock that is installed on the perimeter of the door, is the way I think of it. So you've got a door. Let's say that this is the perimeter of the door. Okay. Rim locks are generally installed like in that sort of fashion. Deadbolt style, not a dead latch. Key removable in locked or unlocked position. That means that it's not key retaining. They say that standard locks are non-handed. Well, this one's handed. And while you could install it in other orientations, your cylinder won't be in the proper orientation when all is said and done. So you want to be sure to order the correct hand. This is a retrofit for the 5L7RD by Best. That is very likely the lock that most people are familiar with. Okay. So there you go. That's the, I can't say it's the original, but it's the one that most people know. And there's information here should you want to dive into the Best item that it's retrofitting. It's a right hand. I think we talked about that. Here's a handing chart, so let's look at that now. Really important. So they're literally defining those doors as outswing. We'll close that up and we'll get to it back in a moment. Barrel length, 1.1 inch. I didn't measure that stuff, but I'll think to, if I don't forget, I'll measure it before we terminate the video. It includes the spacer, that's what I meant to say. Your rectangular strike. Your plastic actuator, which is what I'm calling a construction core. Cores are not included. This will accept anyone's small format, whether it be Best or Falcon, Arrow, KSP. Schlage makes a small format core. Countless others do. Medico does. Yale does. They have everyone's locks and housings go into everyone else's pretty much. Sold as each. When you buy one, we'll ship you one. Let's start here at the catalog page. Pretty simple and straightforward, which is a hallmark of the Olympus catalog. So you're seeing the concept here of what the handing looks like. Vertical, I think this is called inverted. it's a grade 1 lock, and I'm just scanning through here to call to your attention what's important. Finishes: polished chrome, polished brass, satin brass, oil rub bronze. 1 3/8 barrel length locks available in 26D only. What does that mean? That means if you have a thicker door. So the cylinder length is standard at 1 1/16. So if you've got something 3/4 inch, that's going to project out a little bit. But if you had something thicker, they can do 1 3/8 length in satin chrome only. There's no cores included, so you can key it any way you like when you supply the cylinders, and anyone's small format will fit in there. High security, standard, standard cores. Now, a chart here. This will allow you to break it all down in terms of what's available. We did mention key retaining. They can do the key retaining in the VH version only. And what that means is when you insert the key and then when you unlock the deadbolt, you cannot pull the key out until you throw the bolt back and locked. If you want to be sure that you've never left it unintentionally unlocked, like maybe a laboratory in a school, doors to chemicals in a chemistry lab, you might want those always to be locked. There you go. Key retaining is what they call that. All right, the next document will be Datasheet. Just a different version of what this is going to look like. So there's really no reason to go over these items other than to say that clearly they will sell you the spacer separately should you need those. Will it work without it? Yes, but you should really have the spacer installed so that there's no play on the core at all. That's why they put those there. Architectural specifications. That is if you want to include documentation in your construction documents that quite clearly call this material out. There's your source material. Installation instructions, pretty simple. What you need to know is how large of a hole to drill and at what sort of backset you need to drill it at. With a lock like this, you're clearly wanting the edge of the lock body to flush with the edge of the door. That strike will be surface mounted on the inside of the jamb, as mentioned earlier. The diameter of that body, 1 1/8. So what are you going to drill? Very marginally larger than that. Your experience will tell you how much larger. Whatever the wire size, the next wire size bigger than 1 1/8 would be my guess where I'd start with that. Cylinder installation instructions. So this is outside of this realm, but basically with removable core, you're always going to have a control key, whether it's small format, large format, full size. Regardless of the technology that governs the platform that governs the control key and how it works in its system. Medico has a very unique control key on their interchangeable cores. Schlage and Yale's are very similar to each other. Corbin, Yale, Sargent, they all have different ways the control key works. But we're talking about small format here, and as far as I know, let me back up. All small format will work the same way. The control lug, they're calling the locking bar, is on the left side. You rotate that clockwise 15 degree to draw that in. You'll insert the core in, then you'll turn it back vertical to throw the lug back out, as they're showing in step 5. Pull the control key out, and you're in good shape. That's how that works. Suffice it to say, we can supply you with the keyed cores as well for these locks. Now, there's a link below this video here to the manufacturer's page where we can pull up not only all of the Olympus products that we sell by means of this horizontal navigation, but also a link to the manufacturer's website, as well as a link to the full product catalog. And I would recommend a quick review of that catalog because it'll show you all things small footprint style locks, drawer locks, cam locks, and tons of variations on this material. What I like to let customers know is you look at the price point and then you compare that to the price point. And I love Best. But when it comes to Olympus, that goes across the entire product line. Now, you're not going to buy from them a $3 cam lock, because that's not what they do. They make high-quality material. So if you're looking for cam locks that are high quality, this would be the way to go. A retrofit for a mailbox would be a great option for an Olympus product. I had recently a national park, a ranger from a national park, need a few dozen high-quality cam locks that he could install into, and I forgot what he was installing it into. It may have been some sort of parcel lockers that could take a robust key. He was having trouble with the inexpensive cam locks he was buying, that they were shearing the bows of the key off. So we were able to get them into Olympus cam locks, and they've been very happy ever since. And the point is as you go through this, you might find that, gosh, I didn't know I could get that kind of material. And you'll notice that the material they make is very familiar to you, but what may not be familiar is the higher quality than what you might be accustomed to with the lower quality items. Showcase locks, plunger locks, latches, bolts, things of that nature. So it's quite a deep dive into the world of, in air quotes, cam locks. Okay. There you go. So let's wrap up this video on camera. In conclusion, it's not only a nice quality product, but it's a confluence of value and great technical support, along with relatively short lead times. And Olympus hits all of those criteria. You will definitely find their material in architectural specifications when it comes to a hardware package. Like us, if we're the door and frame supplier on a package, on a project, and we're supplying doors and frames and hinges and locks, cylinders, keyed cores, they might say, yeah, let's get those 60 locks for all the casework, because you're supplying the cores. Get those lock bodies on there as well. And that's where Olympus will really come in very well. And I'm quite sure that that's very commonly how their material is applied on such types of projects. If you have any questions on the Olympus 725 RD, DR, RH26D, or any other... I did want to confirm the dimensional properties. Let's do that now. The actual diameter of the cylinder body, 1.129. 1.129. 1.1, so it's heavy on 1 1/8. The projection, 1.065. So they said it was 1 1/16, I think. 1.065. There you go. Any questions on this or any other Olympus product, please feel free to reach out to us. And thank you. Again, thank you for watching, and if you've enjoyed this video, please click thumbs up. Please subscribe and maybe even send the video to someone that you know. Thank you.